Ryan woke early as he always did, but today he felt different. The air was warm and still, the sky bright with sunlight that touched the earth like gentle fingers. His farm had never looked so alive. The crops were tall, green, and healthy, stretching farther than he remembered. The soil smelled rich and sweet, and small streams ran clearly through the fields. Yet Ryan's eyes kept returning to the well. Beneath it lay the golden bull, its presence like a quiet pulse, waiting and watching. For days Ryan had felt the hum beneath the earth, a heartbeat stronger than before. Oren had spoken to him, guiding him with calm instructions, teaching him how to listen to the soil, to feel the life that flowed beneath his feet. Ryan had learned that the land itself responded to those who loved it. And now he knew the time had come to act once more. He knelt by the well and touched the wooden cover. The golden glow beneath seeped through the cracks, warming his hands. Oren's voice filled his mind, steady and powerful. Ryan, the seed is ready. Your people will face challenges and your world will be tested. You must act wisely. Your choices will echo for generations. Ryan took a deep breath. He thought of his village, the farmers, the children who ran barefoot through the fields, the elders who spoke of old legends. All of them depended on the earth, though they did not know it. He thought of the visitors from the sky, the armored figures who had tried to claim the golden bull and the danger they represented. His heart tightened. He had chosen to protect, but he had not yet decided how. With careful hands, Ryan traced the carvings he remembered on the wooden cover. The symbols glowed faintly as if recognizing his touch. The ground beneath him vibrated gently, then more strongly, and the golden bull slowly began to rise from the earth. Its form shimmered, both solid and alive, larger than he had imagined. The carvings on its body moved like flowing energy, and its eyes glowed like twin suns. Ryan's heart raced. The golden bull was no longer just a statue. It was a being of light and metal, a guardian awakened. Oren spoke. Now you must choose how to use the seed. You may restore the land and bring prosperity to all who live here, or you may defend it from those who would take it. Both paths honor life, but your heart will guide you. Ryan closed his eyes. He imagined the droughts that had withered his crops, the villages that struggled to survive, the forests that had been cut and burned, the rivers that had dried. He thought of the visitors and the wars they might bring if they returned. Then he thought of his neighbors, his animals, the children, and the hope that had returned to the land. He understood that the seed could do more than defend. It could heal. Ryan lifted his hands toward the bull. Light poured from the carvings, spreading outward. The soil beneath the fields began to shimmer with golden energy. Streams widened and flowed freely, carrying water to every corner. Crops grew taller and stronger within moments. Trees that had been bare for years bloomed with leaves and fruit. The air seemed sweeter, filled with the scent of life. Birds returned, singing loudly, and the animals moved freely through the fields, grazing without worry. The village people came out to see the miracle. They stared in wonder as the farm transformed before their eyes. Water flowed from the once dry well, filling small canals and ponds. The golden light covered the land like a protective blanket. Ryan remained at the center, hands raised, feeling the power flow through him. He did not feel fear. He felt connection, the bond between humanity and the earth, between the guardian and its chosen. Oren's voice spoke softly. You have chosen wisely. Life grows because of your will, because of your care. Humanity has been given another chance. For the first time, Ryan smiled fully. He had done more than protect his land. He had renewed it, restored it, and shown that humans could live in harmony with the world. The golden bull slowly sank back into the soil, its light fading but leaving the earth charged with vitality. Its eyes dimmed to a gentle glow, and the carvings disappeared into the surface of the soil. Ryan stood quietly, watching the transformation. He knew that the bull had not gone. It would remain beneath the earth, waiting, guarding, ready to awaken again if the world faced danger. And Ryan knew that the connection would stay, a silent bond between the guardian and the chosen protector of the land. In the days that followed, life on the farm changed, but in ways that were gentle and natural. Water flowed freely, the crops were strong, and the animals were healthy. The village began to prosper. People whispered about miracles, about the farmer who had restored the land. Some came from distant places to see the transformation, but Ryan welcomed them quietly, never revealing the full truth. Only he knew what lay beneath the soil, and only he and Oren understood the power that had been awakened. Rian continued his daily routine as before. He fed the animals, tended the crops, and repaired fences. But now he walked with quiet confidence, feeling the pulse of the earth beneath his feet. He could sense when the soil was dry, when the wind carried danger, and when life needed attention. The Golden Bull had taught him patience and vigilance. He understood that true power was not in dominance but in protection, care, and understanding. Months passed and the village flourished. Children played in the fields, rivers ran clear and full, and the harvests were abundant. The villagers spoke of Ryan as a humble man who had saved the land, though none knew how. Ryan did not seek praise. He continued to live simply, tending to the farm and keeping the secret of the Golden Bull. One evening, as he stood by the well, the sky turned orange with sunset. A soft hum came from beneath the soil, a reminder of Oren's presence. Ryan smiled and whispered, "I will always protect this land." The Golden Bull pulsed faintly under the earth, acknowledging his words. It had returned to its long sleep, waiting for the time when it would be needed again. Ryan understood that its purpose was not only to guard the seed, but to teach humans that they were capable of choosing life, caring for the planet and protecting the future. Far away, beyond the clouds and stars, the visitors who had come before were silent. They had witnessed the awakening, the power of a human heart joined with the strength of the earth. Some among them doubted whether they had understood humanity at all. The seed's message had traveled far, showing that humans could rise to meet challenges, that courage and care were as strong as technology or weapons. Back on the farm, Ryan looked at his fields, the rivers, the animals, and the people. He felt a calm satisfaction. He had faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, yet he had chosen wisely. He had used the power not to dominate but to restore life. At night, the stars above the farm seemed brighter, as if acknowledging the bond between the earth and its guardian. The Golden Bull rested beneath the soil, a silent protector waiting for the day it might rise again. And Rian, the simple farmer, walked home across his fields, knowing that he had played a part in the protection and renewal of life on Earth. The world was not perfect, and challenges would come again. But Rian understood something that few ever learned. The strength of humanity lay not in weapons, wealth, or power, but in the courage to protect, the wisdom to choose life, and the patience to care for the earth. He had been chosen, but through his actions he had also chosen the world. The hum beneath the soil faded into gentle silence. The wind carried the scent of flowers and rain across the farm. The rivers sparkled in the sunlight. The Golden Bull rested and the earth thrived. Ryan smiled quietly. Life was beautiful and he would protect it no matter what came next. The legacy of his choice would live on in the fields, the rivers, and the hearts of those who would come after him. Humanity had been given a chance, and through a simple farmer's courage and care, the world had found hope once more. The city lights shimmered like stars scattered across the ground. At the edge of that shining world stood a wide marble mansion owned by a man named Mr. Rayan, one of the richest people in the region. His house was not just big, it was silent, cold, and perfect in every corner. To outsiders, it looked like a dream. To those who worked there, it felt like a place where emotions had no space. Mr. Ryan was known as a genius businessman who built his fortune from advanced technology. He owned factories that produced smart machines and security systems used all around the world. He believed in logic, hard work, and results. People admired him, but many also feared him because he was strict and emotionless. He spoke less and expected perfection in everything. Among the workers in the mansion was a young maid named Mira. She had joined only 6 months earlier. She was quiet, polite, and worked without complaint. She cleaned rooms, managed laundry, and sometimes helped in the kitchen. Unlike others, she never spoke badly about her life. She always smiled, even when her hands were rough from work. Her pay was small, but she sent most of it to her younger brother and sister who lived in a small village far away. During the day, Mira's life looked like that of any other maid. She worked from sunrise to sunset, cleaning floors, dusting furniture, and serving meals. Yet when night came and the mansion grew quiet, her real story began. Every night after finishing her work, Mira would quietly walk to the old library on the top floor. It was a large room filled with books and old computer terminals. The other servants never went there because Mr. Rayan rarely used it. Mira, however, had discovered it one night while cleaning. That room became her secret place. There, under the dim yellow light of a table lamp, she studied. She read about science, machines, and human inventions. She had always loved learning, but her family could never afford proper education. So she taught herself one page at a time. She used old notes, downloaded study guides from the mansion's computer, and wrote everything she learned in a worn notebook. It was her treasure. One night, around midnight, Mira was sitting in that room. She had a cup of warm tea beside her and several open books spread across the table. She was reading about energy systems and how engines convert heat into motion. Her eyes moved quickly over the lines and her hands made notes on paper. The world outside was silent. The only sound came from the ticking clock and the soft hum of the city far below. She was so focused that she did not notice the sound of footsteps behind her. Mr. Rayan had been working late in his office that night. He often stayed up to review company data and reports. When he got up to stretch, he noticed a faint light coming from the library hallway. His mansion was supposed to be dark at that hour. Thinking it might be a security issue, he decided to check. When he reached the library door, he saw something unexpected. There sat his maid, Mira, surrounded by books and papers, her face lit by the small lamp. She looked calm and thoughtful, reading with deep focus. For a moment, Rayan simply watched, unsure what to think. He had seen many workers, but none had ever used his library before. He stepped closer and the wooden floor creaked. Mira jumped in fear. The book slipped from her hand. She stood up quickly, her heart racing, and turned to see him standing there. "Mr. Rayan." "I am sorry, sir," she said in a shaky voice. "I was just cleaning. I did not mean to disturb anything." Rayan looked at the table. It was covered with open science books, a notebook full of equations, and a small drawing of an engine model. He raised an eyebrow. "Cleaning," he said in his calm but sharp tone. "You study while you clean?" Mira froze. She did not know how to answer. She looked down and whispered, "I was reading a little after work." "I did not touch anything important." Rayan walked to the table and picked up her notebook. The pages were filled with neat writing. She had drawn diagrams of machines, explained theories, and written calculations that even his junior engineers would struggle with. He looked at her. "Where did you learn this?" "I just read and try to understand, sir," she replied softly. "I did not go to school for long, but I like learning. It helps me think better." Rayan was silent for a moment. He did not see arrogance or deceit in her eyes. She looked nervous, yet her eyes were bright with sincerity. "Why?" he finally asked. "Why study this? You work as a maid. What good will these books do for you?" Mira hesitated but answered, "Because knowledge gives me hope, sir. Maybe one day I can do something better. I want to understand how the world works. Machines, energy, inventions. I want to build something that can help people like me." Rayan stood still. No one had ever spoken like that to him. Most people who worked for him wanted money, comfort, or recognition. But this maid spoke of knowledge and hope. For a brief second, he remembered his own youth when he used to study late at night in a small room with broken lights. He placed the notebook back on the table and said quietly, "You should rest. You have work early in the morning." Then he turned and left the room. Mira stood frozen. She thought she was going to lose her job, but he hadn't shouted or scolded her. He had simply walked away. She sat down again, confused but relieved. After a while, she packed her things, turned off the lamp, and went to her small room in the servant quarters. Sleep did not come easily that night. The next morning, the mansion felt different. Mira tried to act normal, but she could not stop thinking about what had happened. She wondered if he would dismiss her or cut her pay. When she entered the dining hall to serve breakfast, Mr. Rayan was already there reading the morning report. He did not look at her or say anything. She quietly placed his plate and left. The day passed slowly. Mira finished her chores, washed the floors, and kept her head down. By evening, she still had not heard anything from him. She finally decided to accept whatever would happen. She promised herself that even if she lost the job, she would keep studying somewhere else. At night, when the mansion went quiet again, she went back to the library. She wanted to take her notebook before someone else found it. When she entered, the lamp was already on. She froze in surprise. Mr. Rayan was there, standing near the same table, looking at the book she had used. He turned as she entered. "I thought you would come," he said. Mira swallowed hard. "Sir, I came to collect my notebook. I am sorry for using the library without permission." Rayan gestured for her to come closer. "Tell me, what are you studying tonight?" She blinked in confusion. I was reading about energy conversion, sir. About how small machines can reuse heat. I find it very interesting. He nodded slowly. You read these things for fun? Yes, sir, she said honestly. I like understanding how things work. I feel happy when I learn something new. Rayan studied her face. There was no pride or fear, only a quiet strength. He thought for a moment and said, if you truly wish to learn, then stop reading only books. Try creating something. Mira looked at him in surprise. Create something, sir. Yes, he said. You have access to the small storage room near the workshop. Use it. There are spare parts and tools. Make something useful. You have 1 week. I will not help you, but I will see what you can do. She could not believe what she was hearing. Sir, are you serious? You trust me with your tools? I trust my curiosity, he replied. If you are serious about learning, show me your result. Mira's eyes widened. She felt both scared and excited. Thank you, sir. I will try my best. Rayan turned to leave. Do not try, do it. Now go and rest. You start tomorrow. When he left the room, Mira sat down slowly. Her heart was racing. She could not understand why he was giving her this chance. Maybe he wanted to test her, or maybe he wanted to prove that she could not do it. Either way, she was determined to try. That night she barely slept. Her mind was full of ideas. She imagined building a small helper machine that could clean better than the current ones. She wanted to make something that would truly impress him. The next morning, after finishing her daily work, she went to the storage room. Inside were old mechanical parts, wires, and broken robots. She began sorting them, choosing pieces that could be useful. Every free hour she got, she worked in that room, cleaning and assembling the parts. She learned through mistakes, cutting her fingers and burning her hands at times, but she never gave up. Each night, Rayan noticed the lights in the workshop. He said nothing, but deep inside he was curious to see what she was doing. The maid who once cleaned his floors was now working with tools and metal. It made him wonder how many other bright minds the world had ignored. By the end of the week, the workshop buzzed with quiet energy. Mira stood in front of her creation, a small cleaning drone built from scraps. It was not perfect, but it worked. When she pressed the button, the drone rolled forward and began to clean the floor with smooth movement. Her face lit up with joy. At that same moment, Rayan entered the room without warning. The drone moved between his feet, cleaning the floor around him. He watched silently. Mira froze, unsure what to say. He bent down, looked at the machine, and said in a calm voice, "It works." She nodded nervously. "Yes, sir. It still needs improvements, but it works." Rayan looked at her for a long moment, then gave a small smile. "You have 1 week, and you built this from trash." "Not bad, Mira, not bad at all." It was the first time she had ever seen him smile, and for the first time in years, Mr. Rayan felt something new: respect. The days turned into weeks, and the mansion that once echoed with silence now carried the soft hum of invention. Mr. Rayan's grand laboratory had become a place of new life, and at the center of it all was Mira. She was no longer the quiet maid who cleaned floors in the shadows. She had become an apprentice engineer who worked beside some of the brightest minds in the city. Her progress amazed everyone. She learned quickly, solved problems that others struggled with, and brought creative ideas that even senior staff admired. But her greatest quality was her humility. She never boasted. She never forgot where she came from. Every evening after long hours in the lab, she still visited the servants' quarters to help her old friends with small chores or share her food with them. Mr. Rayan watched her closely. He noticed how the people around her worked harder whenever she was near. Her positive energy lifted the entire team. He began to see something special in her, a strength that was not only of the mind but of the heart. One morning, Mr. Rayan gathered his engineers in the main lab. His tone was serious. "We are entering the final stage of the Skyfire project," he announced. "This device will change the world. If it works, it will produce clean energy that never runs out. But we have one problem we still have not solved: the stability of the energy core." The room went silent. Everyone knew that was the hardest part. The core was unstable, and any small mistake could cause it to break apart. Many attempts had failed, and the investors were starting to lose patience. Rayan continued, "We have 2 months left before the presentation. We need new ideas. I want every mind in this room to focus on one thing: how to keep the core balanced." The engineers nodded and began discussing possibilities. Mira listened quietly, taking notes. She spent the rest of the day studying the structure of the Skyfire core. It was complex, a sphere of rare metal surrounded by magnetic rings. The energy inside it moved like lightning trapped in glass. If the balance shifted, the entire device would fail. Later that night, when most workers had gone home, Mira stayed behind. She sat near the glowing core and observed its movement. Her eyes followed the patterns of light and her mind searched for answers. She remembered something she had read long ago about nature and balance, how planets stayed in orbit because of perfect harmony between gravity and motion. She thought, maybe the core needed balance not from force, but from rhythm. She took her notebook and began drawing. Instead of increasing magnetic pressure, she proposed using timed pulses that moved with the natural rhythm of the energy inside. If she could match the vibration, the core might stay stable without overheating. The next morning, she went to Rayanne's office to present her idea. He listened carefully as she explained her theory using simple words. "You are suggesting we synchronize the pulse frequency instead of strengthening the field?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Mira said confidently. "The core is alive in a way. It moves in a pattern. We should move with it, not against it." Rayanne looked thoughtful. "That is not how my team has been testing it. But your logic is sound. We can try it on a small scale." He called the engineers to the lab, and together they ran a test using Mira's method. The energy inside the core stabilized for the first time. The readings on the screen remained steady, and the usual warning alarm stayed silent. Everyone stared in amazement. Ren turned to Mira. "It worked. How did you even think of that?" She smiled shyly. "Sometimes you just have to listen to what the machine is trying to tell you." Rayanne gave her a proud nod. "Excellent work, Mira. You may have just saved this project." The team cheered, and Mira felt a rush of happiness. For her, it was not about fame or praise. It was about solving a problem that could help the world. That night, she wrote a letter to her younger brother and sister, telling them that she was closer to building something that would make life better for people everywhere. Days passed, and the Skyfire project moved faster. The investors returned, impressed by the progress. Rayanne's company gained attention from the media. Reporters started asking about the mysterious young apprentice who had joined his lab. Rayanne avoided giving details, wanting to protect Mira from the pressure, but not everyone was happy about her success. One of Rayanne's competitors, a powerful businessman named Draven, had been following the news closely. He wanted to create his own energy project, but was always behind Rayanne's company. When he learned about the Skyfire core, he decided he wanted it for himself. Draven sent one of his men to apply for a job inside the mansion as a technician. The man's job was to watch, report, and if possible, steal any information related to Skyfire. Mira had no idea about this. She continued working hard every day. Rayanne trusted her with greater responsibilities. He even gave her a small section of the lab for her experiments. They often worked late together, sharing ideas and discussing theories. Over time, they developed a strong bond based on respect and understanding. One evening, while they were checking the new version of the generator, Mira noticed a strange error in the system logs. It showed that someone had accessed the project files at midnight when no one was supposed to be there. She told Rayanne immediately. "Sir, I think someone entered the system last night. Look at these access codes. They are not from our team." Rayanne's expression hardened. "That is serious. We will check the security records." He called the security chief and reviewed the footage. Sure enough, the cameras showed a shadow moving through the lab after hours. The face was hidden by a mask, but the person was clearly taking photos of the blueprints. Rayanne ordered a full investigation. The next day, one of the new technicians failed to report for duty. They discovered he had disappeared, leaving behind a fake ID. It was clear that someone was trying to steal the Skyfire design. Rayanne was furious. "They want to destroy years of work," he said. "We must protect this project at any cost." Mira stayed calm. "Do not worry, sir. We will rebuild and make it even stronger. They cannot steal what they do not understand." Her words gave him strength. Together they improved security, moved the main core to a hidden underground lab, and continued their work. But the tension in the air grew heavier. Rayanne knew his rivals would not stop easily. A few weeks later, the final test was ready. The entire team gathered around the Skyfire generator. The glowing core floated inside its containment ring, shining like a small sun. Mira stood beside Rayanne, her heart racing. This was the moment they had been working for. Rayan said, "Begin the sequence." The lights dimmed, and the machine started to hum. The energy core began to spin faster and faster. The meters climbed higher, and the room filled with bright light. For a moment, everything seemed perfect. Then suddenly alarms went off. The readings spiked dangerously. Ren shouted, "The core is overloading. The pulse frequency is off balance." Mira ran to the control panel. "No, the rhythm is changing. The core is adjusting itself." She quickly recalculated the timing and entered new commands. The machine responded and the reading stabilized again. The alarm stopped and the light softened. The core floated smoothly, glowing steady and bright. The team burst into applause. The Skyfire generator was stable for the first time at full power. Rayan looked at Mira with pride. "You did it again. You saved us." Mira smiled, her face glowing with relief. "We all did it, sir. It is everyone's success." That night, Rayan held a small celebration in the lab. He thanked his team and announced that they were ready for the world presentation next month. Investors, scientists, and government officials would attend. It would be the biggest event of his career. Mira felt happy but nervous. She had never stood in front of powerful people before. Rayan noticed her worry and said kindly, "Do not fear the crowd. You belong there. You have earned your place." She nodded. "I will do my best, sir." The next few weeks were filled with preparation. Mira helped refine the design, test the circuits, and polish every detail. She often worked late into the night, just as she had in the library months ago. But now she was not alone. Rayan was there too, guiding her, trusting her. On the night before the presentation, Rayan called her to his office. "You should rest," he said. "Tomorrow will be a big day." "I cannot sleep, sir," she admitted with a small smile. "I keep thinking about everything that brought me here. Sometimes it feels like a dream." Rayan looked at her and said, "It is not a dream, Mira. It is the result of your courage. You worked for it and you deserve it." She thanked him and left for her room. As she walked through the quiet mansion, she felt grateful for every moment. The nights she had spent studying alone, the chance he had given her, and the path that had led her to this point. She promised herself she would not let him down, but while she slept, danger crept closer. Draven, furious that he had failed to steal the design, planned a more direct attack. His men would strike during the presentation, destroy the generator, and ruin Rayan's reputation. They wanted to prove that his invention was unsafe. Mira and Rayan had no idea what awaited them. The morning sun rose over the city. The Skyfire generator stood ready in the grand exhibition hall, surrounded by bright lights and hundreds of guests. Cameras flashed, reporters whispered, and excitement filled the air. Mira stood beside Rayan wearing a clean white lab coat, her name tag shining proudly. As Rayan prepared to speak, he looked at Mira and said quietly, "No matter what happens." The grand exhibition hall sparkled under rows of bright lights. Reporters, investors, and scientists filled the room, talking in low voices as they admired the Skyfire generator. The large platform where the device stood glowed softly, reflecting the excitement in the faces around it. Mira adjusted her white lab coat nervously and glanced at the glowing core. She had worked tirelessly on this project, and now it was ready for the world. Mr. Rayan stood beside her, calm and confident. He had rehearsed his speech several times and felt ready, but a small knot of worry remained in his chest. He had noticed unusual access attempts in the security logs over the past week. Someone had been trying to hack the system, but they had failed. He had informed his security team, but the possibility of sabotage made his steps cautious. Mira noticed his concern. "Sir, is everything all right?" she asked. Rayan smiled slightly. "Do not worry, Mira. We have prepared for every possibility. Just focus on your work. Today the world will see your efforts." The ceremony began. Cameras flashed as Rayan stepped onto the stage. He explained the Skyfire generator's design and purpose. The crowd listened, fascinated by the idea of a device that could provide clean, endless energy. Mira stood quietly behind him, feeling her heart swell with pride. Every circuit, every calculation, every night she had spent working was reflected in the generator that now shone on the platform. Then it happened. A sudden power surge hit the system. The lights flickered, alarms sounded, and the soft hum of the generator became loud and chaotic. The core's energy reading spiked, and smoke began to rise from one of the containment panels. Mira's eyes widened. "Sir, something is wrong." "The core is unstable." Rayan reacted immediately. Everyone stepped back. "Security, contain the area." The crowd gasped and stepped away from the platform. Some of the reporters began filming frantically, thinking this was part of the demonstration, but Mira knew it was not. She ran toward the control panel, analyzing the readings. Her mind raced, trying to understand the cause of the sudden overload. "Someone tampered with the system," she shouted. "It is not a malfunction. It is deliberate." Rayan's face turned serious. "Do you know who?" "No, sir," she said. "But the access logs showed unusual entries last night. It could only be someone who wanted to destroy the project." Security personnel began checking the hall and the surrounding rooms. They discovered a small device hidden near the platform, a tool that could interfere with the core's magnetic balance. It was clear that someone had tried to sabotage the generator at the worst possible moment. Mira quickly went back to the control panel. She remembered the methods she had used before to stabilize the core. Her hands moved rapidly across the keyboard, entering the calculations she had tested many times in the lab. She adjusted the pulse frequency, realigning the rhythm of the energy inside. The core shuddered and glowed brighter. Sparks flew briefly, but then the energy settled. The alarm stopped. The readings returned to safe levels. The crowd held its breath as the generator's light returned to a steady, calm glow. Rayan exhaled slowly, relief flooding his features. "Well done, Mira," he said. "You saved everything." Mira nodded, her heart still racing. "It could have been worse, sir. We need to increase the security system to prevent this from happening again." He agreed. "We will. But right now we need to finish the presentation. Show the world what we have achieved." With Mira's help, Rayan resumed the demonstration. The generator's energy powered the entire hall, lights, screens, and devices all running smoothly. The crowd erupted into applause, unaware of the disaster that had almost happened. Mira felt a surge of pride. Not only had she helped stabilize the core, but she had also protected the work of everyone who had contributed to the Skyfire project. After the presentation, investors approached Mira and Rayan. They praised the generator, the design, and the potential impact it could have on cities and communities. Many asked technical questions, and Mira answered them confidently. She explained the principles behind the core, the pulse synchronization method she had developed, and the safety protocols in place. People were amazed that a young apprentice who had once been a maid could understand and explain such complex technology. One of the investors, an older woman with sharp eyes, leaned toward Rayan. "He has an extraordinary assistant." "Who is she?" Rayan smiled. "Her name is Mira. She joined as my apprentice 6 months ago. She is talented, hardworking, and the reason this project succeeded." The woman looked at Mira with admiration. "She is remarkable. I wish every company had someone like her." Mira blushed but stood tall, proud of the acknowledgement. For a moment, she forgot the fear of sabotage and focused on the joy of achievement. Later that evening, in the quiet of the lab, Mira and Rayan reviewed the events of the day. "I could not have handled the overload without your quick thinking," Rayan said. "You acted calmly and logically. You have grown beyond my expectations." Mira shook her head. "I only did what I have been practicing, sir. If I had hesitated, everything could have been lost." "I am grateful you trusted me." Rayan nodded. "Trust is earned, Mira. You have earned it. And more than that, you have proven that talent can come from anywhere. You reminded me that human determination is stronger than any machine or plan." Mira smiled. "I learned that from you, sir. You believed in me when no one else would. That gave me courage to face the challenge." For the next few days, the team focused on repairing minor damages caused by the sabotage and reinforcing security measures. Rayan ordered additional monitoring systems, and Mira helped design fail-safes to prevent similar incidents in the future. The experience strengthened her confidence and deepened her understanding of engineering principles. Meanwhile, news of the sabotage began to spread. The media praised the team for overcoming the challenge, highlighting Mira's quick thinking and problem-solving skills. People admired her courage and determination. Many commented on how a young woman, who had once worked as a maid, had saved one of the most important inventions of the year. Rayan noticed how her actions inspired others. He realized that her journey reflected the essence of human potential, how determination, intelligence, and courage could overcome obstacles that seemed impossible. She had faced danger calmly, solved a critical problem, and earned respect from everyone around her. One afternoon, Rayan called Mira to the office. "Mira, I want to discuss the next step of the project," he said. She nodded, eager to hear. We will scale the Skyfire generator for wider use. Cities, hospitals, and communities will benefit. You will lead a small team to implement the technology. It will be a great responsibility, but I believe you are ready. Mira's eyes widened. Sir, me? Lead a team? Yes, Rayan said. You have shown courage, intelligence, and leadership. I trust you to guide the team and ensure the success of the project. This is not just about machines. It is about people. You can make a difference. Mira felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Leading a team was new territory, but she had learned to face challenges with calm and confidence. She nodded firmly. I will do my best, sir. I will not disappoint you, Rayan smiled. I know you will not. You have already exceeded every expectation. This next step will test you further, but I am confident in your abilities. The following weeks were intense. Mira organized the team, delegated tasks, and ensured that every detail of the project was carefully managed. She supervised construction of small pilot units of the Skyfire generator, tested energy outputs, and made adjustments based on performance. She often stayed late, refining calculations and analyzing data. Her leadership inspired others. The engineers who had doubted her initially now looked to her for guidance. Even Ren, who had been skeptical, admitted that she had a natural talent for leadership and problem-solving. Mira had transformed from a quiet apprentice to a respected engineer, capable of leading a team on one of the most important projects in the world. One evening, as she reviewed the final reports, Rayan approached her. Mira, do you remember the night I found you in the library? He asked. She smiled softly. Yes, sir. I was studying while everyone else was asleep. I never thought you would notice. I did notice, he said. And I also noticed your determination. That night, I made a decision that would change both our lives. You reminded me that talent and courage often hide in the most unexpected places. You have proven that humans can rise above their circumstances and achieve greatness. Mira felt a surge of emotion. Thank you, sir. I would not be here without your trust and guidance. Rayan placed a hand on her shoulder. This is only the beginning, Mira. The world will see what you can do. And you will show them that courage, intelligence, and determination are stronger than fear, sabotage, or doubt. Mira nodded, feeling a new sense of purpose. She knew the challenges were far from over, but she was ready. Together with Rayan and her team, she would take the Skyfire project to heights no one had imagined. That night, as she walked through the quiet mansion toward her room, Mira felt a mixture of exhaustion and excitement. The sabotage had tested her abilities, but it had also proven her strength. She had faced danger, solved a critical problem, and earned respect from those around her. She understood now that true innovation was not only about intelligence but about courage, determination, and the willingness to act when the stakes. The morning sun bathed the city in warm light as Mira entered the laboratory. Today was the day the Skyfire generators would be installed in the pilot city. Hundreds of people depended on the success of the project. Mira felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She had worked tirelessly for months, refining designs, testing circuits, and guiding her team. Now it was time to see their work in action. Mr. Rayan met her at the entrance. His expression was calm but determined. Mira, are you ready? He asked. She nodded. Yes, sir. Everything is prepared. The team is ready and the generators are stable. Rayan smiled slightly. Good. Remember, trust your knowledge and your instincts. You have proven yourself already. Today is the world's turn to see it. The team loaded the portable generators onto trucks and drove toward the pilot city. Mira rode with the engineers, checking the devices one last time. She reviewed the energy outputs, pulse synchronization, and safety measures. Everything had to work perfectly. Any failure could cause harm and ruin years of work. When they reached the city, the streets were crowded with officials, workers, and curious onlookers. The project was public, and the city depended on the Skyfire generators to provide clean energy for homes, hospitals, and schools. The trucks stopped at the central plaza. Mira and her team began carefully installing the units, connecting power lines, and running diagnostic tests. Rayan observed from a nearby control tent, monitoring every movement. Mira moved quickly but methodically. She communicated with her team, giving clear instructions and solving small problems that arose. Each generator hummed softly as she completed the installations. Then, suddenly, a loud noise echoed from the plaza. A group of men in dark uniforms appeared at the perimeter, trying to approach the generators. Security guards blocked them. but it was clear that someone was attempting to interfere with the project. Mira's heart raced. "Sir, we have intruders!" she shouted into the radio. Rayan's voice came over the comm link. "Stay calm. Security will handle them. Focus on the generators." Mira took a deep breath. She refused to panic. Years of hard work had prepared her for challenges like this. She returned to the control panel and began checking the energy pulses. One of the generators showed a minor fluctuation caused by the disturbance. She quickly adjusted the frequency, stabilizing the unit. Her team watched in amazement. Even under pressure, she remained calm and precise. The intruders were stopped by security, but Mira did not let the distraction shake her focus. She moved from generator to generator, ensuring that each one worked perfectly. Finally, the last generator was activated. The entire city plaza glowed with clean, bright energy. Streetlights turned on, hospital machines powered up, and homes received electricity for the first time without relying on old, dangerous grids. The crowd erupted into applause, cheering for the success of the project. Mira stepped back, exhausted but proud. She looked at the glowing generators, thinking about how far she had come. From a young maid studying late at night to leading a team in one of the most important projects of the year, her journey had been extraordinary. Rayan approached her, his face showing pride. "Mira, you did it. You led the team, solved problems, and ensured success. I could not be prouder." She smiled, tears welling in her eyes. "Thank you, sir. I could not have done it without your guidance and trust. You believed in me when no one else did." Rayan placed a hand on her shoulder. "You proved something important today. Talent and determination do not depend on background or circumstance. You showed the world that courage and effort can overcome anything." Mira looked around at the team, the glowing generators and the cheering crowd. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment. This was the moment she had worked for, the result of countless nights spent learning, creating, and never giving up. After the ceremony, reporters approached Mira for interviews. They asked how a young apprentice had played such a critical role in the project. She spoke simply and humbly, explaining her methods and emphasizing teamwork. She credited her team and Mr. Rayan, showing respect for everyone who had contributed. The story spread quickly. Newspapers, television channels, and online platforms shared the tale of the young maid who became an inventor and leader. People were inspired by her determination, intelligence, and courage. Many young students wrote letters to her, saying she gave them hope that they too could achieve great things despite difficult circumstances. That evening, back in the mansion, Mira walked through the library, the place where her journey had truly begun. She touched the worn notebooks filled with her old notes, remembering the night she spent learning alone under the lamp. She smiled, thinking how those quiet hours had led to this moment of triumph. Rayan entered the room quietly. "It seems the world knows your name now," he said. Mira laughed softly. "Yes, sir. But I still feel the same. Learning and creating make me happy, not fame." Rayan nodded. "That is the mark of a true inventor. Recognition may come, but your purpose is what matters. You have not only built machines, Mira, but you have also built hope." Mira felt warmth in her heart. She realized that her life had changed in more ways than one. She had gone from cleaning floors in the shadows to standing at the forefront of innovation, yet she remained grounded, remembering her family, her humble beginnings, and the values that had carried her this far. Days later, Mira received a message from her younger brother and sister. They had heard of her success and were proud beyond words. She visited them, bringing small gifts and stories of the city and the project. Seeing their eyes light up reminded her why she had worked so hard. Her achievements were not just for herself, they were for everyone who had believed in her dreams. Back in the laboratory, Rayan called Mira to discuss the future of the Skyfire project. "We have proved that our technology works," he said. "Now it is time to expand, implement it in other cities, and continue innovating. You will be leading more projects, Mira. Your talent cannot be confined to one place." Mira listened carefully. "Yes, sir. I will continue learning and working hard. There is so much more to do," Rayan smiled. "And I will be here to guide you. But remember, your journey shows something bigger. It proves that human determination can achieve extraordinary things regardless of where it starts." Mira nodded, feeling a sense of purpose stronger than ever. She understood that her story was not only about her rise from a humble beginning, but also about the potential that existed in every person who was willing to work hard and never give up. Weeks later, Mira returned to the library at night, her old sanctuary. She placed her notebooks carefully on the shelf and sat at the desk, thinking about her journey. She remembered the fear she had felt when Mr. Rayan had first found her studying late at night. She remembered the nights in the workshop, the small victories, the failures, and the lessons learned. Every moment had led her here. Rayan entered silently. "Still studying?" he asked with a small smile. Mira looked up. "Yes, sir. There is always more to learn." He nodded. "And there always will be. That is why people like you are rare. You do not stop at success. You keep moving forward, learning, creating, improving." Mira smiled. "I will always try my best, sir. For myself, my family, and the people who need hope." Rayan looked at her thoughtfully. "You have done more than you realize. You have inspired everyone around you, not just with machines, but with your courage, determination, and heart. You have proven that humans can rise above their circumstances and achieve greatness." Mira felt a tear slide down her cheek. She had never imagined that a quiet girl studying at night could reach this far. She had faced challenges, danger, and doubt, but she had emerged stronger. The mansion was quiet, but for Mira it was filled with light. Her journey had started with curiosity, continued with hard work, and had now become a symbol of hope and inspiration. She understood that her path was not just about machines or inventions. It was about proving the power of human potential. As she looked out of the window, the city lights twinkled like stars. She thought of the people who would benefit from the Skyfire project, the children who could study under bright lights, and the families who would live better lives. Mira realized that her work had meaning beyond herself. Rayan stood beside her quietly. "Remember, Mira," he said softly, "the world may be big and challenges may be greater, but the human spirit is stronger." "You are living proof of that." Mira nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. She knew that she had not only changed her own life, but had also begun to change the world. And in that quiet moment, with the city sparkling below and the laboratory filled with achievements, Mira felt that she had truly arrived, not just as a former maid or as an apprentice or as an inventor, but as a human being who had dared to dream, to learn, and to rise above every obstacle. Her journey was only beginning, and the world was waiting for the next chapter. But one thing was certain. Mira's courage, determination, and heart had already left a mark that would never be forgotten.